Hi, I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan. We wanted to talk to you guys really quickly before we start our show
Yeah,
about Joyride.
Joyride. That's we're running a campaign right now on Joyride.
Yeah, it's not about Joyride specifically. It's more about us on Joyride. Because while I like those guys,
yeah,
I'm really fond of us.
yeah, and we're very aware of the amount of support that we need on a regular basis in order to continue doing the show and to improve the show.
And to get it better.
Yeah.
And faster and
Yeah.
stronger.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can rebuild it. We have the technology. But we need your help. So if you're willing to, if this is something that means something to you, if you've enjoyed our show, we would certainly appreciate it. You can show your support by going to thankgodimatheist.com and clicking on the Joyride link on the side of the page.
Yeah.
That'll take you to our Joyride page. Watch our little video.
It explains there's different levels of support. You can get like a ringtone for your phone.
You can get all sorts of things.
We'll say your name on the show, all that kind of stuff.
And literally, just this isn't pressure to support us at a certain level. It's wherever you're comfortable.
Yeah.
You can choose any level you want. But we really appreciate your support, and it'll help us a great deal.
Yeah.
And you can be part of a thing.
Yeah, be part of a thing, and on to the show. Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast,
I'm Frank.
and I am Dan.
And coming up today, we're going to have a little interview with a young woman who's currently on her way out of religion.
She's fresh.
Yeah.
Fresh meat.
She's teetering on the brink of
On the abyss.
on
The brink of the abyss.
non-belief,
The
no belief,
the never-ending black hole.
godlessness.
The misery that is atheism. Or
no,
non-theism.
No, that's not true, Dan.
the sad, sad life
terrible
that
thing to
awaits
say.
all those who abandon their
Absolutely terrible thing to say,
religious
Dan.
belief.
Awful.
It's also inaccurate, as it turns
I
out.
disapprove, Dan.
As it turns out, it's nice. It's nice not to have to believe
It's a relief, isn't it?
For me, it was so nice.
But those first moments are scary, and that's what we're talking to her about. A little bit of that.
I mean, we just wanted to talk to her because it's cool to catch someone right in that moment.
Yeah.
You know, she doesn't know what's going on yet. And there's still plenty for her to explore, and she won't know where she's going to land or whatever, but it's cool to catch someone right in that moment.
And I'm sure for a lot of our listeners who are like us, it's been years.
Right.
It'll be just nice to hear. And for other listeners who might be, kind of exploring and reaching, trying to think about new things, it might be nice to hear somebody who's in the same place.
Yeah, somewhere
in their life.
somewhere in process. I think that's it's a fascinating point in her in the process.
Indeed.
So that's good.
Yes.
Should we do stories?
Let's do.
Ooh,
Dan.
this does sound exciting.
Yeah. In fact, I have one I want to start with.
Oh, please do.
This is, how I like to look at what different states are up to and what they're thinking.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I love this shit. I don't know why, but I just love it.
States can't think, Frank.
Oh, the people do.
The people do. That's true.
Well, there is a movie adaptation of the best-selling 50 Shades of Grey
Sure.
that's coming out.
Oh, I've heard all about it.
And it's just, boy, it has some ruffles feathered.
Yes, it does have some ruffles feathered, which are the worst kind of ruffles. The feathered one. I like the crinkled ones.
Just terrible. No, the American Family Association, which is based out of Tupelo, Mississippi, is denouncing the damn thing. Right.
Oh wow.
They're urging people not to see the movie. Aside from, the graphic sexual nature of the story.
Oh yeah.
That's being told.
Oh.
The AFA,
The AFA.
the AFA has said that the movie also promotes domestic violence. Which is amazing.
First of all, we should explain. I don't know. I haven't read the book. I don't know much about it, but my understanding is that it's about rough sex.
Yeah.
Consensual rough sex is my understanding. Having never read the book, now I've heard people
a little bit of bondage, right?
Right.
Playing around with some tying up,
right?
And
the BDSM,
submission and dominance type stuff.
All of that stuff. Now, no, I have heard complaints that it actually crosses the line into non-consensual.
Oh no!
Really? And I haven't read it. I don't know if that's the case.
Okay,
but I'm sure that the AFA doesn't know jack shit about bondage and
it's not domestic violence,
right? Yeah,
in the sense that like
mutually agreed upon beating each other up for sexy time. That's okay. That is not the same thing as domestic violence.
If that's what you like.
But let me tell you something.
I'm not one to judge.
I'm with them. I'm with the AFA.
Really?
Because there is not a single shade of gray.
Oh.
That is family friendly.
Oh my God.
Every single shade of gray.
Well,
that they discuss in that book and film.
Yeah. Well, in response to this whole hubbub, a online ticket seller, Fandango.
Oh yeah,
they're big. Has looked at some of the numbers for ticket sales, and they've calculated, because there's been a lot of pre-sales, right, that have been happening. They've looked at it, and they've used pre-ticket sales, and compared that with each state's average of just ticket sales in general.
Okay.
Right? So for the movie and then just average sales.
Okay.
To determine which state seems the most eager to watch the film.
Well, gosh, I wonder where this is going.
Well, do you have a guess?
It's gonna be the South. It's gonna be like, well, where's AFA based?
In Mississippi.
Guess what? Hi, Mississippi.
Ding, ding, ding. Mississippi is the #1 most eager state to see 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
And apparently Tupelo, the headquarters of the AFA, is the most eager city in the most eager state.
Pent up sexuality is the saddest of all of the things.
Of all the sexualities?
Of all the sexualities, pent up is the worst. It's just sad.
Yeah, but then there's release, Dan. And that, anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But Tupelo, birthplace of the king himself.
Yeah.
Pent up sexuality.
There you go.
Yeah, I've been to Tupelo.
Have you?
Yeah.
We should have gone when we were in the South.
No,
we're fine without it. We got
once is enough for both of us.
We got enough. We got enough Mississippi while we were down there.
Yeah, nice enough place.
Sure.
I liked that.
Vicksburg.
Vicksburg. That's the one.
We had
fantastic.
We had a lovely time in Vicksburg. Yeah. Just briefly.
Brief, not long enough, actually.
Right. Well, I don't know. I feel that brief is sort of the key for much of Mississippi.
Oh, I could have spent more time in Vicksburg.
Yeah, it was cute. It was very cute.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I am going to depress us now.
Why?
Well, because then we have time to recover later in the show.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
You and I discussed that we wanted to talk a little bit about. Well, okay. So I'm going to talk about a hate crime.
Okay.
That happened. This is very clearly. This is the most clear hate crime that I've seen in a long time. So we're in Tacoma, where a woman identified as Chris, that's the only way that she wanted to be identified, was attacked really viciously.
Okay.
She was looking out late at night looking for a dog that had gotten loose. Her dog had gotten loose, and she was out looking for him. And a man pointed her down an alleyway, saying that he had seen the dog. And when she went down there, he came up behind her and said, "Why?" She said, "He ran up behind me, and he said something like, 'Why don't I sound like a boy? That I look like a boy?'" And that's when it started. He said, "Are you a dyke? God hates fags." And then he viciously stabbed her several times.
Oh my God.
In the breast, jaw, forearm, and thigh. with a pocket knife.
Oh, God.
He stripped her of her clothes and wrote the word dyke on her buttocks and back, and then ran away. So obviously,
God.
just an absolutely horrific attack. The fact that he said God hates fags, and obviously this is a very clear and motivated hate crime.
Yeah, clearly, yeah.
And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about it, just because I thought it's, this kind of attack is so sort of distills the hatred for gay people into into its purest form.
And which is its best form.
Well, what you want is some real pure hatred. No.
Strong.
If nothing else, it points out that diluted hatred is actually better than distilled hatred, because at very least it doesn't lead to stabbings.
I like at least a 10-to-1 ratio.
You do, yeah.
Before I'll go anywhere near it.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
God, that's terrible, Dan.
It's a horrific thing. And this was actually brought to my attention by someone on the members only lounge. So thanks for that. It's I guess the point here is that I don't know what the point is. The point is don't stab people.
Well, I mean, not to just be simplistic about it, but I mean, this is what belief in God can lead to. And we've talked about this before. And
well, yeah, I mean, we've got all these books.
It makes it easy to hate. It makes it easy to, or can make it easy to hate.
Right. And this person was probably mentally unbalanced anyway.
Right.
You almost have to be to do something as awful as this.
Yeah, I mean,
but when you offer a mentally unbalanced person a set of rules that were created in the Bronze Age,
right,
and you say this is truth,
right,
you're gonna breed violence.
But they're good rules, Dan. These are rules to live your life by.
Well, it's never gone wrong before.
The best book, Dan, ever written.
The most perfectest ever, except for the Book of Mormon.
Right, that's the perfect
That's the perfect book.
Yeah.
Right.
And the Book of Mormon hasn't, encouraged,
Right, yeah. No. Nobody... Well, no
Mormons have ever been violent.
No, that's clearly never happened. Clearly never happened.
So clearly the best of the books.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, however, I think you have a story to tell us, and then we can sort of do a compare and contrast on this.
Yeah. So
I think that's important.
Yeah. So the story that I have is...
It feels very fresh to us now. By the time you're listening to this, it won't feel as fresh.
It won't be quite as fresh. It's the shooting in Chapel Hill,
right?
That happened. The three Muslims who were all shot in the head, and killed clearly by Craig Stephen Hicks, who turned himself in earlier. When did that happen?
Like this morning.
This morning, yeah.
We're recording on Wednesday, so
yeah. And so, the thing that caught my I kept seeing this in sort of just different feeds that I follow. That there was a shooting in Chapel Hill, and I didn't click on it. I didn't see why to click on it. I was busy looking for atheist-related stories, so why would I click on this story?
Right.
And then I went over to the atheism subreddit, and people were starting to wring their hands over the fact that he was an atheist. And look out, we're going to be facing some trouble.
Right.
Which I don't know that would be my immediate response to a story like this, to be thinking about, we're in trouble now because an atheist misbehaved.
It wasn't. It was a pretty immediate response for me.
Was it really?
Yeah. As soon as I saw that he was an atheist, I was like, oh shit. Well, here it comes.
But see, that's the thing. In the initial headlines that I saw, I didn't see atheist being the thing that was being focused upon. I didn't see that until I went to a place where there were atheists who were concerned about the story, who had actually read the story and then had something to say about it,
Right.
which would have been a good thing for me to do. Anyway, so I guess the reason that I really wanted to talk about it is just the fact that there's I don't think, for me, that's where I want to be focusing my attention, is that he shared a similar worldview on certain things as me.
Well,
and that he has, because I went to his Facebook page, that he liked a lot of things on Facebook that I would like.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I think the similarities kind of stop right there. Right?
Well,
I hope.
The similarities certainly end before shooting 3 people
Before shooting
in the head.
3 Muslims in the head.
Right.
Now, a lot is being made of the fact that he's an atheist and they were Muslims.
Right.
When it does seem to be that at least the police department at this point is saying that this is really about a dispute about parking.
Right.
Which is disturbing.
Yeah. Again, it takes a disturbed person to shoot anybody.
Right.
And so what we have here is another case of a disturbed person. And this one doesn't seem to be ideologically motivated.
Right.
According to the police at this moment, at the time of our recording.
But the media will run with that.
Well, but here's the thing.
Don't you think?
Well, maybe. That's definitely a possibility. I think that's definitely...
Atheist kills Muslims. I mean,
yeah.
Fox News,
oh,
we can be guaranteed.
Yeah, they're gonna be talking about
the direction.
that angle all the time. However, I don't know that we can discount the possibility that them being Muslims was a factor. I mean, who knows? Maybe it ramped up his maybe a parking dispute between him and another atheist would not have ended in this fashion.
Yeah, so I mean these are 3 young college students actually.
Right.
Two females and a male.
Mm-hmm.
And the two girls were sisters. He was married to one of the sisters.
Right.
And they were, for lack of a better way of saying it, obvious Muslims because they were covered.
Right.
They covered their heads.
The women wear the hijab.
And so, yeah, you're right. I mean, how clearly an other, right?
Yeah.
If nothing else, it's easier to see people who, they're outwardly very obvious.
Yeah. I think so. Where we need to go with this, I think what's instructive here is for us to do a couple things. First, I want to do the thought experiment of what if he came out and said this wasn't about parking. This was because they were Muslims.
Right.
What does that mean for atheists?
Right.
And I think that for me, the way that becomes instructive is that when we as atheists start pointing the fingers at religion and saying, because this woman that I just reported on got stabbed by a clear religious zealot.
Right.
Do we really want to hold all of Christianity or all of whatever? I mean, we're assuming this guy's Christian, but all of that person's religion accountable? And if so, doesn't that put us in the same position? Because if this guy wasn't religiously motivated, somebody will be someday.
Right.
There will be an atheist someday who will commit an atrocity in the name of his of some sort of belief that he has. Now you can't hold.
It's kind of a tough one.
It's tougher because we don't have a book that says this is the rules.
Yeah.
Like atheism is the lack of a belief. It's not a belief system. It's
hard to do it in the name of atheism. I kill thee in the name of atheism.
In the name of I don't believe in a thing. And now I'm going to go and act in the name of not believing in astrology. And I'm going to go act in the name of not being a fan of homeopathy.
Right.
It's not so technically you're right. There is a difference. However, there's a sort of a vague perceived ethos even among atheists. There's a belief system.
Well, we do feel a connection. I feel a connection to other atheists.
Right.
Because of some shared experience.
Right. And you
You
and
know.
I both, and I think most atheists would feel more comfortable if there was less religion in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a sort of shared belief.
Right.
It's not a belief system, but it's a shared feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone were acting on that and committed an atrocity, we wouldn't want anyone to lay that at the feet of atheism.
Mm-mm.
So I think maybe we need to be careful about how we talk about religiously motivated violence going in the other direction. That doesn't mean that they're off the hook.
Right.
It means we need to be careful. It means this is instructive to us.
Right.
However,
But
I think that
how does that work with, say, hate crime type situation?
Well, I mean, I think we can just categorically disavow all hate crime. I feel like it's pretty easy. This is actually very easy, which is that we can just say we don't believe in any violence toward any person in a civil society.
Well, I mean, hate crime is
special.
It is very special.
I believe that a Christian could be hate crimed because of their Christianity.
Absolutely.
So I'm opposed.
If you're going after somebody because of who they are or what they believe,
an association with a group,
exactly.
Any of that sort of thing.
That's hate crime.
That's hate crime.
That's a hate crime.
And it is special and it is unique, and we as a society need to condemn it in an extra way.
Right.
It is important to give it extra juice when we condemn hate crime.
Yeah.
Because a crime of passion, if your wife's cheating on you and you shoot her,
Right.
that's awful and it's unacceptable.
Right.
But it's different than if your hatred has been
Your
bred.
belief structure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we as a society need to condemn that in a very singular way.
Right.
So I guess the TGIA official policy is that we condemn both of the attacks that we've talked about.
Well, I mean,
Today.
of course we condemn them. But I mean, and there is, who knows? We may never know exactly what was going on with him. We won't ever know what's going on with him unless he comes out and says, "Yeah, no, I killed them because they were Muslim,
Right.
and I didn't like them because they were Muslim." And
Right.
blah, blah, blah.
And Muslim people don't get to park in my parking space.
Right. They called on me. They had my car towed. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Because I think that I read the little thing. I'm not sure all the details, but there was somebody posted the parking policy on
Who
this
the
website.
fuck cares though? Like, it's so irrelevant why he went out and shot these 3 people unless it's a hate crime. That's what makes it relevant. If it is about their Muslimness,
Right.
that makes it relevant.
Right.
If it's about parking, there's nothing relevant about what if they were parking their car on top of his car.
Yeah. Well, the thing
It
is,
still wouldn't
he
be
went
relevant.
And he killed all 3 of them. It's
Yeah.
not like it was some anger thing. He pulls out his gun. He
Yeah. And he wasn't
each one in the head.
Yeah, he wasn't shooting for their trunk. He wasn't shooting for he didn't pop their tires with a gun. He didn't scare
And why,
them.
in God's name.
He just killed them. It's terrifying.
Yeah, anger and heat of the moment. I don't know that you would shoot them all in the head.
Oh my
It's just
God.
so weird.
That's just crazy. So if you know someone who's a little unbalanced, calm them down. Let's all play the calm everybody down game. That's our society is too heated in general.
Yeah, and this guy also really liked his guns.
Yeah,
And I know that gets me in trouble every time I talk about guns, but
doesn't matter.
he super duper liked his guns. It was amongst the things that he liked on Facebook.
It's valid to
And
say
he
that
he
maybe we
posted
should
pictures
Yeah.
of his gun on Facebook.
And none of that's illegal.
No.
There's nothing that's illegal. And maybe that there should be some laws.
It's
Maybe-
a handgun. He posted a picture of his hand. So he had a handgun. I'm assuming that's how he killed them.
Yeah,
Was with his handgun.
one would assume.
Yeah.
It's,
So anyway,
it'd be more.
I don't want to go trudging down that road about gun control and everything, but boy,
Somebody needed to control his gun. Anyway.
Anyway. Dan, what's next?
Okay, well, we'll move along. do you remember a guy named George W. Bush?
Rings a bell.
Yeah, that guy. There's an interesting thing that happened recently. The BBC was interviewing a senior Palestinian politician about just sort of about stuff. The Israeli-Palestinian summit.
Why am I worried?
Well,
this is an interesting setup, Dan.
It is an interesting setup. Apparently, the Palestinian foreign minister back in 2003, this was 4 months after the U.S.-led invasion of Iraq.
Okay.
You remember when that happened, right?
Oh yeah.
When the U.S. went ahead and invaded Iraq with with the most dubious of motivations and explanations. Well, we have a little bit better picture of why that happened. If Nabil Shaath, who was the Palestinian foreign minister at the time, is telling the truth.
Oh.
Nabil Shaath said, President Bush said to all of us, quote, "I am driven with a mission from God. God would tell me, George, go and fight these terrorists in Afghanistan. And I did. And then God would tell me, George, go and end the tyranny in Iraq. And I did."
Oh. And he said this to this guy?
Mm-hmm. He said it to the entire Israeli-Palestinian summit at the Egyptian in Egypt.
And this is the first we're hearing of it?
Well, I guess so. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that he thought God was talking directly to him about it.
Well, yeah.
But it does kind of point out why, with really no reason to go into Iraq,
right,
he trumped up a bunch of reasons and then just charged in. Because he did say that whole quote about Saddam tried to kill my dad.
My daddy.
Which is pretty funny. But he had a mandate from God. Of course he's going to go in.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Jesus told him to.
When God talks to me, I listen.
Apparently, Mr. Bush went on, he said, "And now, again, I feel God's words coming to me. Go get the Palestinians their state, and get the Israelis their security, and get peace in the Middle East, and by God, I'm gonna do it."
Wow.
Epic fail, George. Way to go, W.
Oh.
Yeah, so
God told me to be a nitwit.
Oh, my God. So apparently, God was talking to him the whole time. Isn't that nice?
Terrifying.
No, that's wonderful. We had a president with a direct line to God.
There was that great song when the president talks to God.
I don't know what you're talking about. No, I have no idea what that is.
Bright Eyes. Look it up, people.
Yeah, okay.
When the president talks to God, does he answer or merely nod? I think it's one of
the... it's funny because this reminds me of like everybody's fear at first of like JFK. When JFK was elected, everybody was like, we can't have a Catholic president because he'll just do what the Pope tells him to do.
Right.
We can't have a Mormon president with Mitt because he'll just do what the Mormon president tells him to do or whatever. I got news for you. If you have an evangelical, he's just getting it direct from God. Jesus is talking to him direct.
Yeah. Bible and Jesus. That's it.
There's no way to avoid it. We're just going to be led by people who have imaginary friends.
And there's basically a faith test, at least, if nothing else.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah. You and I can't run for president.
Well, for numerous reasons.
For a myriad of reasons. But one of those specifically.
The most important and the real block here, the thing that really is going to prevent it from happening.
Well, yeah,
is the fact that we don't believe in God.
We're both big dumb idiots and stuff, so we probably are disqualified in that
Dan.
respect. But we are immediately disqualified because we have.
I was thinking, neither of us were born into political families.
Well, there is that.
Yeah,
exactly. Considering that it's looking like this next presidential election is going to be shaping up to say the words Bush and Clinton again. Yeah, it does seem like there might be a dynastic thing happening in the United States. Good thing we got rid of that royalty stuff.
Yeah.
The monarchy is such a bullshit thing. Anywho, so yes, this whole time what we didn't know about W is that he had the red phone that connects directly to our nuclear arsenal, and the blue phone that goes to Jeebus.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, this is Jesus.
Thank you for calling 1-800-Jesus.
I'm trying to go back to our whistling Jesus from last episode.
I was thinking like please press 1 if you
Right.
if you know the direct number
Exactly.
of the party.
If you know,
Please dial.
for Jesus, press 1. For God, press 2.
For the Holy Ghost, press 3. For Mary, press 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you're a Mormon, press.
Please hang up and
Yeah, exactly. Dial
call area code 801.
801. Yeah, exactly. We were both going to say.
That's
There
funny.
you go.
Well, all right. Well, I have a very interesting story, Dan.
It better be.
Very important glimpse into Saudi Arabia
Oh,
and the kind of opinions that get volleyed about.
oh dear.
Okay.
Okay.
In said country. It's an amazing country.
Yeah.
Full of fantastic special rights for women.
Oh.
Um,
Like the right not to go outside or the right not to drive? Is that the kind of rights that we're talking about?
Yeah, and the driving one is where I'm going with
Okay.
this. Apparently, and boy, Poe's Law just screams at me through this whole thing, but
Okay.
it's on a reputable source, so
Okay.
I'm going with it.
All right.
Apparently, there is a Saudi historian went on to national television and attempted to justify the ban on female drivers, saying that women who drive in other countries, in particular the United States, don't care if they're raped.
Oh wait. Hold on. I'm gonna try and get I'm gonna.
Sexual violence is no big deal to them.
Okay. I am going. This is amazing, and I'm going to try and make my mind bend to a place where I could possibly understand what the fuck this dude is on about.
Okay, yeah.
Nope. I got
No.
nothing.
Well,
I got
Dan,
nothing. What does he say?
If he says that they, meaning these women in other countries,
These driving women.
they don't care if they are raped on the roadside. Oh no, those countries,
oh, the
those
countries.
places,
Oh.
they don't care that their women are being raped on the roadside. Basically, is what he said.
Oh, okay.
But we do.
Right.
And so the host goes, "Hold on, who told you they don't care about getting raped on the roadside?" And he says, "It's no big deal for them beyond the damage to their morale. In our case, however, the problem is of social and religious nature."
Well, yeah, because they fucking blame the woman and stone her to death.
I would be very concerned that you live in a society where you believe that a woman by herself is just the first thing that's going to happen to her is the men in your country will rape her.
Oh, yeah.
And dude, you're one of those men.
Yeah.
Like
well, he's clear.
clearly lone woman on the side of the road. Excuse me. We're
Right.
gonna pull off here.
I'll
We've
help
got a
you.
woman to rape,
I'll help you change your tire, lady.
but it's gonna cost
But
you.
there's some business we got to take care of first.
You could pay AAA,
Right.
or you can let me rape you.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's.
So yeah, apparently because of the long distance between their cities,
Mm.
women would be out just driving between these cities willy-nilly.
Well, the trick is you don't fix the rape problem. You fix the women out in the world problem.
Yeah, that's
And then the
clearly
rape
where you
problem
go.
fixes itself.
Then there aren't any rapes.
Frankly, if we could just lock all of the women in jails,
Right.
we would prevent rape almost entirely.
Well, that's basically what Saudi Arabia does. And so he goes on and he talks about how, women in Saudi Arabia are treated like queens because they are driven around by the men of the family and male chauffeurs. And the host goes, well, but don't you think one of these women might be raped by their chauffeur? And he goes, yeah. And there's a solution, but the government officials and the clerics refuse to hear it.
Yeah.
What's his solution? What do you think?
No women going out.
The solution is to bring in female foreign chauffeurs to drive our wives.
Wow. Okay. Hang on a minute.
At which point, the host of the show, actually begins laughing. Because I watched the video of the whole thing.
Yeah, of course she's going to begin laughing. That's amazing. Who is this person?
His name is Saleh Al-Sadoun.
Yeah.
And he's a Saudi Arabia historian. He was important enough to wind up on national television.
That's pretty impressive.
He looks important. He's wearing... He's dressed in the traditional garb.
Well, there you go. I mean, you can't argue with his logic unless you want to inject your own logic.
Right.
In which case you...
And every nation is going to have crackpots on their television. I mean, that's just going to happen. But he's a crackpot defending...
Well, it's a
the
nation...
crackiest, pottiest...
Of all of the rules.
Of all the rules.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's not a crackpot if he's in a nation where they all believe the same thing that he does.
Well, her response was like, she was impressed of how much of a crackpot he was.
Yeah.
And there were two other guests who were both just like, there was another woman, and her jaw was just on the floor.
Right.
And then it cut to the guy. The guy never said anything, if I remember right. And he's just kind of just shaking his head, kind of smiling,
right?
To himself.
And
so it's like it's clearly becoming something that is nearly impossible, a policy that's nearly impossible for them to continue defending.
Right.
And so you have somebody who's just grasping at straws, trying to figure out a reason why women should continue to not be allowed.
It's for their own
But this
safety.
is the kind of shit you come up with.
It's not just the rape thing. You don't know what could Godzilla could come out of the sea and attack these women if they're not safely in their homes.
Also a good point.
If they're out driving, any number of things could happen. We actually glossed over a thing that I kind of want to hit.
What?
Which is that his contention was that in Western countries, if a woman gets raped, all we seem to care about is that woman's well-being.
Her morale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of my concern, actually. So he kind of nailed it.
I just love the idea that it's morale is such a. I mean, again, it's being translated, and who knows who did the translation, but yeah, her morale.
Yeah, well,
that's.
Yeah, I'm not it just goes to show how fucked up his thinking is, because his thinking is that there's something more important than
her psyche,
than the woman's psychological response to this.
Violated physically.
Exactly.
No, it's this religious reason.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
She's been ruined. What they don't understand in these American, in these Western countries is that the woman's now defiled and tainted. Her value has gone down.
Yeah.
Her stock has plummeted from this.
Yeah.
Men want water at this point. That's the problem. Who cares what her feelings are?
And the effect on her, yeah.
Right, yeah. Her dad can't get rid of her now.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
Or her husband may not want to be near her.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Because she allowed herself to be raped.
Yeah, exactly. She's ruined their marriage.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
By being raped.
It's amazing to me. And again, it's one person, but the fact that, and I know I'm repeating myself, but the fact...
Did you almost fall out of your chair?
Yeah, I just broke this chair.
Okay.
The fact that a woman alone is... I just don't get it. Like there is your assumption is that the men in your society are just waiting to rape a woman.
Oh, they're gonna rape somebody. You know, if that woman gets out, she's gonna get raped. We can't stop ourselves. We're just
What the fuck is wrong with your society?
Oh, we some raping motherfuckers. That's just how it's gonna be. All right. Well, anyway, I want to move on. We're both gonna just drive ourselves crazy.
Being
outraged,
baffled by this.
Okay. Well, you baffle yourself.
Jesus Christ.
And I'm gonna move on to Bristol in England.
Oh, okay.
Merry old Bristol. This was actually a story sent in to us by Nina. Thank you, Nina. Astute listener, Nina. Who
helper
who wanted us to know. We have a lot of helpers, and we can't always thank them. So it's just a nice one-off where I thank somebody. Hope you like it.
You're so grateful, Dan.
Yeah. Anyway, apparently, there's a church in Bristol. Half of the reason why I wanted to talk about this is just because then I get to say the names of all of the things, because I just like the idea of St. Michael and All Angels Church.
That's cute.
Yeah. So what's happening at St. Michael and All Angels Church in Bristol is that for years now, there has been a public a yoga class that's been taught there. A woman named Naomi Hayama has been teaching her stretching and bending
and balancing.
And apparently that's not acceptable anymore.
Of course it's not.
No, the Diocese of Bristol supports the
bendiness and stretchiness of its...
No, they support the PCC of Bishopston and St. Andrews in exercising its responsibility in deciding to cease bookings for a yoga class in St. Michael's Church.
No!
Yeah, apparently there will be no more yoga, as it is a, quote, alternative spirituality to Christianity.
If only...
We are aware, says the letter, that yoga can be practiced as either an exercise class or as a spiritual discipline, and anywhere in between. However, we understand that its roots lie in thinking that is not compatible with the Christian faith, and the Christian faith has not appropriated yoga.
Could they expand, perhaps, on what it is that it's teaching that is in contradiction to Christianity?
Sanskrit words? Those are not okay.
Like, seriously.
You can't do that. They use, like, bells a lot of the time and, like, you know, those singing bowls. Christianity does not tolerate bowls that sing. No, absolutely not. That would be in direct contradiction to you know, good Christian cups and saucers.
How could it be in conflict with Christian teaching?
Well, you know, the church on their own website,
like, does namaste secretly mean deny Christ or something? Like,
yes, namaste means Jesus. Yeah, no. Basically, so here, this is from the church's website, the parish of Bishopston and St. Andrews. Their own website, where they say, you may have read in the Bristol Evening Post about a decision by this parish's council to cease bookings for a yoga class at St. Michael's. All of our buildings are open to and used by a wide range of groups from the local community. The primary purpose of these buildings is the worship of God as revealed in the person of Jesus Christ. Yoga means the union of mind, body, and spirit. By definition, therefore, yoga is a spiritual activity whose roots are not Christ-centered.
All right. Fine.
What the fuck ever, dude?
I don't.
It's stretching class. Everybody's
it's bending
going
and stretching class.
They're going and they're bending and they're stretching
and balancing.
Right. But they're not. You know what? If they were
breathing,
just
breathe.
If they would just replace the sun salutation with the Son of God salutation,
why not?
Everything would be fine.
Yeah, downward dog could be
downward facing God.
Upward God.
Yeah. Okay, go into up dog and breathe. 2, 3, 4. And now down into down God.
Tree. The cross.
The cross?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
We could convert the whole damn thing.
Just convert it. They appropriated shit all through the early days of Christianity.
Right. Lion's pose is now Daniel in the Lion's Den pose.
Fine.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do this all day, people.
Yeah.
I don't know enough yoga poses because I fucking hate yoga, but
Isn't there like a cat? Something or other.
I never encountered a cat pose. I did it.
A frog.
I did it for a little bit. There's
A toad, maybe.
I don't think so, but maybe. I don't know. There's let's see. There's warrior.
Oh, there is warrior.
How about
Christian warrior.
Right. Christian warrior 1. Transition into Christian warrior 2. You're great. You're in good shape.
Onward, Christian soldier.
That's right. That's absolutely
You
right.
can bend and stretch with the best of them.
Yeah, and now get your support crucifix as we go into. Instead of those blocks, you just got a nice spongy crucifix that you can lean on.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not yoga mats.
The bell
These
at the
are-
beginning, maybe something a little less,
It's
ding-a-ling-a-ling, and something more
bong.
Yeah.
Bong.
Yeah, with a big rope. They would just ring the church bell
Yeah.
afterward.
I'm liking this.
Namaste is turned into amen.
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 Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. This is easy.
It's done, people.
You don't call it yoga.
Yeah.
You call it stretching with Christ. We got this.
It's done.
We got this.
Done.
Yeah. So
Write them a letter. Somebody
yeah,
write them a
exactly.
letter.
Miss Naomi needs to. She's just marketing badly.
Yeah.
Because you just tailor it to your crowd.
Yeah.
Change the names. No more Sanskrit.
No.
Do some.
I don't know.
Aramaic.
Sure.
You throw in the Aramaic
Yeah.
instead of the Sanskrit. Everything's
Absolutely.
golden.
Yeah, it does need to sound foreign for people to really,
Sure.
you know,
Little Hebrew.
Hebrew,
Little Greek.
yeah.
All
yeah.
of these things would be fine.
Yeah.
And then you're golden.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm really liking it.
Yeah. Christian yoga.
We're gonna
Not yoga. It's not yoga. I think you're right. It's stretching with Christ.
stretching with Jesus.
Yeah. Stretching for
Jesus, stretching Christ. This is a great workout.
Yeah, and you can have a whole manual with
Sure.
Jesus in different poses.
Go in. Now we'll all go into cross pose.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Christian lessons that could be learned
Absolutely.
at various different parts of the whole thing.
Well, now you're ruining it, Frank. Now nobody's going to want to go. You don't turn it into Sunday school. It's Wednesday school.
You need the Diocese of Bristol.
They need to be on board.
They need to be behind the whole thing.
That's true.
So
That's true. Stretching with Christ. Well, if you guys have any ideas for yoga poses that could be replaced with good, honest Christian poses, you can
absolutely,
be sure to let us know.
Yeah.
You can write to us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
or you could leave us a voicemail at 424-666-8442.
Right. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, or the closed group, the
Yeah.
TGIA
Search for us.
Members Only Lounge.
You got to search for it though.
You do. You
Yeah.
can't just
And
that doesn't just pop up.
You have to push you have to ask to join it.
Yeah, you have to ask.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll be kind enough to let you in.
Yeah. And of course, there is thankgodimatheist.com. You can always check out shit there.
All right. And namaste to that. So
Indeed.
now we're gonna hear. Is it a patty break?
It is a patty break.
Woo!
And Pat Robertson has he has found the real victims of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how the tide has turned, how the tables have turned. Don't ask, don't tell used to refer to gays in the military. Now it could apply to Christians in uniform. And military chaplains are also facing the fact that at times biblical values are even being called hate speech. Man, these chaplains are brave. They're there with the men. They're facing fire. And when a guy's getting ready to go into eternity, he doesn't need some communist and some socialist or some progressive giving him pablum and some doctrine of political correctness. He needs to know how to prepare his soul for eternity. And you need somebody who'll tell him the truth. And if we begin to muzzle our chaplains, God help us.
Oh. I thought he was going after us with the communists and the socialists.
Yeah.
And then he gets to us.
The progressives?
The progressives.
Is it? Yeah, well.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not what you need when you're facing forever.
No.
When you're facing eternity.
You don't need a communist.
No.
Or a progressive.
No, those guys aren't going to help you.
No. We laugh at you.
Exactly. If you come to me and you say, Dan, I'm really scared about facing my own death, all I'm going to do is be like, well, comrade, let me tell you something. Fuck you.
Yeah, guess what? What do you have to worry about? Once you're dead, you're dead.
Yeah, you're going into oblivion, son.
Yeah.
That's your life.
Face that.
Yeah. Deal
Mister.
with that.
Yeah. by the way, happy dying.
Yeah, here's how you prepare your soul. Nothing.
Yeah.
You got nothing.
Die, motherfucker.
We're terrible chaplains, Frank.
Yeah, I don't think the chaplaincy corps or whatever it's called would.
Oh,
I don't
I think we'll be
I don't think
rejected.
I'm made out for it.
I don't think
in some way.
I don't think we have the right stuff.
Yeah.
And certainly, Pat Robertson doesn't feel that we have the right stuff.
No, but do you know who thinks we do have the right stuff?
Who?
A lot of our listeners.
Oh, a lot of our joyriding
Yeah.
listeners.
We had a good week on Joyride.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
It's been a good experience with Joyride so far.
So far, we've had some joy on the ride.
And so I would like to thank the following for signing up this week and pledging their ongoing support and their hard-earned money to helping us continue to do the show. And those people are Brandon, Kelly, Dale, and Ian. Now, I noted a couple weeks ago that it is a sausage fest over at Joyride.
Kinda,
And,
yeah.
And while that doesn't bother me so much,
It should bother you ladies. You should be bothered. Let me tell you something. We got some cool stuff that you guys can participate in.
Absolutely.
When you sign up to support us on Joyride.
Yeah.
And again, Joyride's so easy. You just go to our website, thankgodimatheist.com. That should be easy enough to remember. There's a big thing on the side of the page that says Joyride right on it.
Just click on it.
Click that. Off you go. You choose your level of support. It can be any number. It's just a monthly recurring payment.
Yeah.
And for that,
But we do have some rewards at specific levels.
right. So, yeah, that's true. And one of the things that we wanted to talk about is that coming up on Saturday the
21st.
the 21th
of February.
February,
We're going to be doing our hangout.
our Google Hangout, which is only for our supporters at the $15 a month level.
Yes. And of course there are other levels.
Plenty of them.
You no matter what, if you come on and pledge $5 a month, you get our special reward of immortality, $5 or more.
Right.
We'll give you a good mention. For $3 a month, you could get one of our ringtones. It's a recording of us just yelling at you. Pick up your phone.
Yeah. So clever.
Or you can bundle those two together for $8 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And like we said, there's this $15 a month one, which is a Hangout, Google Hangout.
Right.
And because it has become such a man's thing to do, I love the men are responding to this.
Yeah.
But what we're promising to do, at least for 1 month, is we will do a ladies only hangout.
Yeah.
If the ladies can come in and beat the men
I think
in the numbers. just numbers of supporters.
Right.
Not necessarily dollar amount. We do understand that you do make 80 cents on the dollar compared to our male listeners. So
on average,
in
the United States, for our international listeners, this number may vary.
So we're not asking you to pledge the same amount.
No, it would be unfair. But however, we need a good showing from the ladies. Otherwise, you should all be ashamed of yourselves.
Yeah, so we're going to do a little competition-y thing here. The 21st, February 21st, that is going to be just anybody who's signed up at that level. But if we can get the ladies to show up in large numbers, we'll do a special one with all of the ladies who participate in trying to help us out.
Absolutely.
And so we do greatly appreciate it. And we're fast approaching this $350 a month level.
Right, and that's our
cool.
our first plateau goal.
Mm-hmm.
It gets us to the point where we can actually, improve some of our
the situation in which we record the show.
Yes,
I broke a chair earlier.
Yes, we are now our studio is suddenly down a chair.
I'm now sitting on a noisy chair. I don't know if that translates into the
that's not
thing. So I'm having to sit very carefully.
Frank has a very tender bottom. It requires a lot of maintenance, and so now we're just in a position where we need chairs, we need new mics, we need new mic stands, we need a whole bunch of stuff. We're approaching the level at which we can actually buy these things.
Yeah,
that'll be helpful. Nowhere near the level where we can actually pay ourselves money,
right?
Or which would free us up to be able to produce more produced content and all of that sort of thing.
Right.
So we're still working on that. We need your help. So get on it, ladies.
Yeah.
Speaking of ladies, we talked to one.
Yes.
We had a lovely conversation with my friend Katrina.
Yeah,
and
that was nice.
And so
we
thought we'd just let y'all listen in. Well, Katrina, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here.
You and I go back several years. What, 5 years, something like that?
Probably about 5.
Where we met in London doing a study abroad together, and at that time, you, madam, were a devout Mormon.
Very devout.
But you're here because you're in a transitional point in your life in terms of how you view religion and what your thoughts are about what's true. So talk to me about what Mormonism meant to you back then. What was it like for you?
I was born in the covenant and grown up. My parents...
That's real Mormon stuff.
Yeah.
You
might want to explain.
My parents were married in an LDS temple, and just by being born into a family that already had all the correct paperwork done, I was going to be with them forever and ever.
Yeah,
so that's how a lot of things, anything that I learned, whether it's in school, or whether it's in conversations or at church, had to make sense to me, had to, follow logically, and had to feel right. That's the stumbling issue right now, is that I've lost that connection with what feels. I would say at the moment I'm definitely agnostic, because you can't convince me that there's no supreme being or no cosmic power, but I'm not going to operate under the assumption that there is, because I really can't see it in my life.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to learn to trust myself and trust facts and trust patterns in other people. So not trusting them, as I just went through a difficult divorce. So learning to trust myself has been difficult, because I was very trusting of people that didn't merit that trust with their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's looking at, okay, what do I really think? And, forget about what I feel and what I believe. What is reasonable based on experience, based on the evidence before me.
I'm fascinated by this idea of trust and of trusting other people, because the basis for a religious belief, at least for most of us who were raised in a religious belief, is the trust of those who taught it to us. Right? We inherently trust our parents, and they teach us these religions, and they teach us a whole system of beliefs. I mean, even atheist parents teach their children systems of belief, and then it becomes at some point as we become adults. Hopefully, we have to question those things. We have to It's not about the person necessarily. You can probably still trust your parents, but when you do come to the point where you realize, oh, this was just given to me, I didn't own this. I didn't create this. This was just something that I adopted from other people. I think there's something very interesting about that realization. And it seems to me that it came for you from feeling betrayed by someone that doesn't relate to your parents, but now it's related to everything in your life. You want to own all of your beliefs. Everything that's in you, you want to take ownership of. You don't want it to have come from anyone else. Is that fair?
I think that's the attitude I had all along, was that I wanted to be really sure. That's why I think I would have a different take on issues that wasn't against my religious beliefs, but kind of a duality in my mind, So I think I was kind of the oddball in the family or in the group whenever we got together religiously anyway. And now it was even before I got married that I think I'd been kind of denying this fear, this doubt that I was believing things just because I wanted them to be true. Right. And I kind of didn't think about that until I was really ready. And so it was a few weeks after my divorce that I started vocalizing this to other people. And then it was like a bubble burst.
Right. Yeah.
Not like a big explosion, but just, oh, now that I've said that out loud to a couple of people, it doesn't scare me that much anymore. It's not really that hard. It's that it's okay that I was believing things because I wanted them to be true. And I don't have to continue believing them because I want them to be true. I can just...
Yeah. Can you maybe give us an example of one of these things that you kind of had a different take on than the religious folk in your life that made you kind of stand out?
Politically, I would say I definitely am more liberal than a lot of people of my religion or my former religion. I don't know, weird. Because I always held the conviction that you can't hold your beliefs, you can't put them on someone else. So by the same, I don't want anyone telling me that I have to live in accordance to their religion. I don't want to be telling anyone that they have to live in accordance with my religion. And even, I don't know, you kind of have to separate those universal beliefs, like, truth. You can say that transcends all religion. That's something that just, as human beings, if I can say, it doesn't matter what you think, if you think there's a God or not. We both believe that it's important to be truthful. So that's a good thing in society. That's a pro-social belief. We think it's good to be truthful. We think it's good to be fair. And if we look, so politically, I always thought, well, it doesn't matter if I believe that people are going to be happier in heterosexual couples sealed in my temple, or it doesn't matter that I believe that, because that isn't fair based on the Constitution. You have to look at it not within your framework of belief. You have to look at it in a neutral setting where it's going to apply to everyone.
Right.
Where someone who thinks that, doesn't value marriage at all, but they think, well, people who do value marriage should be able to marry who they want. Yeah. So really the only difference between then and now on my beliefs with gay marriage is that I don't feel bad for supporting it anymore. Whereas before it was like, oh, well, I know this isn't like the stance the church takes on it, but I really think it's the right thing politically. But I don't know, I didn't feel like it was appropriate to have them telling people how to vote, or have them telling, you teach what you believe is true, and then you let the people do what they will with it. And a lot of the time they end up doing things that aren't so great with it. Like they go around being rude to people. They go around being exclusive and, hurtful because of these beliefs.
In Mormonism, like the brethren, the prophet and all, the men in suits who live who live in the temple. That's not really what happens, but that's how I always think about it. Anyway, those guys are revered, and their word is kind of final on
Yeah.
things. I don't know. Did you ever feel kind of alone? If you're if inside of you you're battling against what those men are saying, isn't that didn't create conflict within you?
I think I always felt very comforted that things will work out in the end. So it wasn't that like if I didn't understand something completely, I would have deferred to them. Like piercing my ears. I only had one pair of piercings in each ear. And I wanted more, but I didn't want it badly enough to, for me, it was enough that, well, the prophet said you shouldn't do it, so I'm not going to do it. It doesn't, it's not a life and death choice. It was just a little bit of personal expression that I thought would be nice.
I guess I was out of the loop on this one. The prophet actually said no more than one piercing per ear.
Yes.
They got
so much control over
Well,
everything.
That's the thing is I feel like a lot of things when you're in charge of a large group of people, you kind of have to go with the lowest common denominator. Like not everyone can drink responsibly. So no one should drink anything at all. People get, crazy with their self-expression. And then it's like, well, part of your modest dress should be to not have excessive piercings and not have crazy hair colors. And, just don't be distracting, be focused on God's work and be focused on caring about other people and not spending your time and money and also treating your body with respect. So having huge holes in your ears and lots of holes in your ears is not seen as being respectful. So I didn't feel like it was any disrespect to have a second pair of earrings in my ears, but it was enough for me that he'd said it. So I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah.
So about 2 weeks after I kind of broke with everything and had to refocus everything, I said, well, then there's really no reason not to get my ears pierced again. So I got it pierced a couple times.
This girl's going to be covered in tattoos within 3 years.
No.
So where are you now? What do you said you're an agnostic.
Yes, because I don't know, you can't rule out the possibility and I can't believe things because I want to.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. And frankly, most of the time it doesn't really matter because whether or not I'm getting, I'm heading towards heaven or not, it doesn't affect, apart from piercing my ears a second time, I haven't changed my behavior that much.
Right.
I'm still treating people the way that I was before. I still do the same amount of service. I actually might do more now that I'm not spending as much time at church.
Right.
I spend more time caring for the kittens that I volunteer with. So,
let me ask you this: if 5 years ago, when you and I knew each other, and I was the scary atheist, and you were the
you weren't scary. You're just a little preachy.
Okay, that's fair.
That sounds more like Dan.
That's probably fair.
That's more Dan.
When you were that devout Mormon, if you had looked ahead and saw a time in your life when you would be questioning the church, possibly even leaving the church, what would that have meant for you?
That was not even a possibility. That was impossible because it's true.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I won't. Then let's not rewind quite that far back. Let's rewind just back, 6 to 8 months. From
Still, 6 to 8
now.
months ago, it would have been. I didn't want to think about it. That was scary.
Right.
Yeah.
But so that's what I'm trying to get at. What fears do you think if you were able to articulate those fears, what do you think they would have been?
Because if I was believing things because I needed to, because it wasn't just that I wanted to, so I had to put my cat down a couple weeks ago. It's very sad for me. My friend was trying to comfort me, telling me well, there has to be a kitty heaven. I really believe that. And I'm like, that would be a nice thing to believe, that I could be reunited with my sweet cat. And because cats are innocent, they deserve fabulousness, right? So that there should be something better for them after. But I have absolutely no evidence. And I've learned that just because something really should be that way. It super isn't. So
Right.
it could be. So it's, comforting for some people to feel like their family and their pets and whatever, that there's a continuation and it's good for them because they've merited that. I don't know. So I'm really glad that I spent my time with her as though I would never see her again. And that I made that decision of euthanasia based on the idea that I will never see her again. So this had better be the right choice.
Right.
So same thing with the way I interact with life. Before, it was too easy for me to say, well, this person has wronged me and I can just let that go because I'll be taken care of and they'll be taken care of and things will be fair in the end. God's going to take care of it. And now I'm considering taking that person to court because no, they shouldn't be allowed to treat people that way. And if I let them treat me that way, they're going to treat the next person that way just the same. And God isn't going to intervene anytime soon. Maybe things will be tallied up at the end and that'll be great, but there's nothing wrong with seeking justice now.
Right.
So I think it's made me a more active participant in my life than
Oh, that's interesting.
kind of passive saying like, well, this will get sorted out. I can let this go. Now I can say, no, there's no guarantee that this will get sorted out. It's my responsibility to do what I need to do. See that.
That's an interesting place to be. Do you feel like, and I don't know how you would word this, have you left the church?
No, I mean, I haven't left. I don't think you can tell them don't talk to me anymore. I mean,
you
sure,
can.
Yes,
you can tell them
Yes,
not
you
to call
can.
you, but I don't.
We've done so. We've done so.
I mean,
Very much a step you
But
can do.
I'm talking more of an emotional question. Do you feel, where are you? What's your relationship with
I'm
the
not
church?
religious.
Okay.
I'm not spiritual. I'm not.
Do you still feel a connection to the word Mormon? Like, is that something?
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure. Because until maybe 4 months ago, I would, definitely, I was attending weekly meetings, maybe not every week, but I was attending as often as I could. And so I still will take it upon myself, if in the break room people are chatting, to explain things, being like, oh, well, while you can't label me as LDS any longer, I did, I know a heck of a lot about it because I did a lot of research and I still have a couple bookshelves full of books. So I can explain this to you if you are interested, or I can explain this. I feel like I can clarify things for people when they're getting hurt about what someone said or what someone did. So I definitely feel like that these are my people. This is my culture. I can represent it. But I don't identify.
How has it been navigating the fact that you still have, these are still your people, but the main thing that binds all of them together no longer applies to you?
It's mostly just been hard because I don't find comfort in the things that they say anymore. Whereas before, if you're sad and someone tries to cheer you up, if you know where they're coming from, you can be appreciative of it, even if it doesn't help you. So when people are, telling me, like my friends saying, there must be a cat heaven and she's going to be happy and, getting all the wonderful things that she deserves, I recognize that as an attempt at comfort, and it's great, but it doesn't affect me at all because I don't believe that. I'm like, yeah, right. That would be nice.
Have you talked to your parents about this?
We haven't had a discussion. So mostly I went with my sister to church to help wrangle her kids, keep them in their seats. And when we took a break so she could feed the baby, we were just discussing, life and what's going on. And so I explained things to her, how I was feeling, which of course meant she talked to my mom. My mom talked to my dad, and my dad talked to me. And he was pretty much like, so you're freaking them out. They're really worried about you. Maybe don't talk about that right now.
Wow.
I love the Mormon approach.
I don't know. I don't think that's the Mormon approach because my mom is very practical and she, wants to talk to me about everything. But No, I haven't, I guess, broken the news to people because I don't really feel like it's that big of a change. It's always been a really personal thing for me, my relationship with my Father in heaven. And now that my relationship is that there probably is nothing on the other line. So why am I picking up the phone? I'm just, going to go do what I think. Why am I trying to consult someone? So I'm just going to go do whatever I was going to do.
Right. Oh, she's a heavenly orphan. Oh, it's so sad when we lose our Father in heaven.
So
Has it been sad or has it been okay? Like what do you feel?
I think before I was holding on to things so tightly, didn't want to admit or didn't want to think too critically about that aspect, even though like I analyze my beliefs, and especially I married a Catholic, a disgruntled Catholic. So
They all
so
are.
This is the part of the story that I didn't know.
So before
Okay.
I got married, I had to go through line by line, like, okay, what am I going to insist that we teach our children? It's like, so we had to come to kind of a compromise, mostly me saying, well, we don't have to teach them that their money, like they don't have to give 10% of their money to the church, but we should teach them that there should be a certain percentage of their income that they spend on good deeds and other things. So they should give 10% of what they make to a charity of their choice, or just spend it on
Doing good in
on
the
it.
world.
Yeah. So whether that's giving the money away or that's funding a trip to go do service, whatever. Like
right.
that's something I really want to teach my children, whether they believe in my
That's
God
really
or his
nice.
God or no God or whatever. So
Yeah.
we'd, gone through all of that. And I'd been like, well, I do think like we should spend time as a family. So pretty much I'd reaffirmed every practical thing that I'd done with the church and just made it a little more flexible so we didn't have to fit my religion or his religion. But pretty much I was going to raise my children Mormon, but with a lot more knowledge of other religions and a lot more knowledge of practical considerations, not just, because it's in the book or because the brethren said so,
Right.
because it's a pro-social behavior and this is a good thing to do.
Well, it sounds to me like on some level you kind of discovered long before you decided that Mormonism as a religious system wasn't for you, that you don't have to be Mormon. You like that none of those things that you felt like you were drawing from Mormonism, they're not inherent only to Mormonism.
No,
They're just life. They're just being
Yeah.
a good people.
they're just good. They're really good ideas. And even now, like a big cultural thing with the LDS is writing a journal.
Mm.
And I always stunk at it because I would feel bad about, oh, my handwriting's not good. And, oh, I'm talking too much about that boy I like. And like,
You were judging
but
your own
now-
journaling?
Yes, of course. But now I'm getting back into journaling, not to chronicle my life for posterity, but to help with the way I'm thinking, to write down three new things that I'm grateful for. Thank you, Oprah. So we can say like 3 things that I'm grateful for today. And that gives my entire day not just a positive spin, but it helps me frame things in a better way for me to be more productive in life. So I think, how great is it that they taught me when I was little that I should be journaling? Now, I didn't do it for a long time, and now I'm doing it again, but it's not because, it's still a good thing.
Right.
It doesn't matter as much what the original motivation was.
But
It's
it
the
sounds to
effect it has on your life.
It sounds to me like there's a sense of you had to be able to do it on your terms to be able to do it. Like with the journaling, while you were in the church, you were worried about doing it right. And now that you've left the church, you're actually doing it because it's yours.
I'm doing it because I found a really pressing need for it.
Yeah. It didn't come out of what you were supposed to do. It came out of what
Yeah.
you felt like you needed to do. This is, I guess what I'm getting at here is that for me, when I left the church, when I let go of God as a concept, my fear going into it was that I guess I had a sense that somehow I didn't know what I needed to do. I didn't have a sense of what was moral or what was
Yeah,
blah, blah.
there's no plan. There's no point.
Right.
My big fear was that, well, then why do I even wake up? Like, what's the point of living if there's nothing after it?
Right.
Well, the point of living is that there's stuff right now that is important.
So do you feel more or less comfort now that you have Now that the thing, I mean, religion ostensibly is supposed to give you comfort. So the theory is that if you leave the religion, there won't be that comfort anymore.
So there have been a couple episodes where I've been really pissed that I can't pray. I can't, I mean, I could, but
Sure.
But I no longer, it wouldn't work for me.
Right.
So I feel like I've let go of, or I'm not relying on other people or other things to give me comfort. I have to find that in myself. I have to make that for other people and for myself. And I guess for me, it's kind of in theme because I'm going from being part of a couple to being a single person. And I'm going from being part of a religion to being a single person. I'm going from being part of these groups to just being me and having to figure out, well, what do I really think? What do I really want? Instead of saying, oh, well, I wish I had someone to snuggle for comfort, or I wish I had someone to pray to for comfort. I have to find strength in myself. And if I don't have it, then I'm going to make it.
That's nice. That's a good place to be. A good place to live.
Yeah.
Well, Katrina, thank you so much for doing this
Thank you.
with us.
This was fun.
Yeah, thanks very much.
And good luck on your journey. Maybe we'll check in with you in a few years and see how things have been going.
Sure.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dan, for setting that whole thing up with Katrina. That
Great,
was
right?
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
No, it was really good.
Katrina, it's just so fun to see someone in process and to see that moment sort of blossoming.
Yeah.
And thank you again, Katrina, for
Thank
coming
you
on the
very
show.
much. Yeah.
If you have anything to say, dear listener, about Katrina's interview or anything that we've talked about on this lovely episode, please feel free to write to us. You can do so by email via the electronic mail.
Internet.
What
What
is
is internet?
What is internet? That's podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you could leave us a voicemail at 424-666-8442.
Right, or go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
Or search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge on Facebook.
One of my favorite places on the whole web.
Wow.
To be perfectly, I'm there all the time commenting. I'm in the fray.
Whoa. That's fantastic.
People keep tagging you and stuff, but you don't even.
I don't even go on Facebook.
Nope.
Rarely.
It's okay.
Rarely,
Don't be
rarely.
offended, everybody. Frank just doesn't like you. That's all.
No offense. Anyway.
Anyway.
And of course, thank you to Mackenzie for all of the help that she provides on Facebook.
She's just awesome.
We just hit 4,000 likes.
And
those are hard-earned likes. People.
yeah, and we're not paying
We're not
for no
buying
likes.
likes.
No, not
which
like
is a thing that people can do and have done.
Yeah.
We don't.
we don't do it. We have ethics.
Yeah, so
And-
4,000 likes. There's 4,000 of you who've liked it, and they're legit and real.
Right.
And thank you.
And Mackenzie does a great job with that. Thanks also to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their lovely music.
And thank you, dear listener,
For
listening.
chiming in.
Yeah.
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 We'll see you next week.
Okay, bye-bye.